Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to Mocktails with Marina. I'm your host, Marina, and today we'll be discussing mocktails for different occasions. If you happen to hear a motor right now, I'm not sure if you can, but I live on an airport and that's my dad flying around. Pretty exciting. Anyway, I digress. Now, I know I originally talked about dropping an episode today as an interview with Odyssey, and I oopsie doodled. That's next week. I was living in the future when I was seeing what the date was. But today I'm really excited to talk about mocktails for different occasions because there's so much more thoughtfulness that can go into this to make such a bigger impact, and I just like to give you guys the prompts. But before we dive in, please make sure you visit marinamars.com and add your name and email address to our mailing list. This is where you're going to start to receive more news, recipes, courses, workshops, industry happenings, and more. Now, at this point, I haven't actually sent out like a full email to everyone on the list yet. So I don't do it very frequently. I've mostly been talking to people one-on-one, which has been really exciting. But you will start to see more of these kind of emails coming through, and they're going to be packed with value, lots of information. The recipe portion is starting pretty soon here. It just took me some time to get everything started on the back end. Building entire course platforms is kind of a lot, you guys, but I'm slowly starting to wrap all of that kind of stuff up so I can do more recipe creation, and I'm going to create some guidebooks and content for you. So, all of that being said, whether it's recipes coming up or it's industry happenings or workshops or any of the online courses that I'm working on, you're going to get all that information through there in order to get all the tools you need to do the things, whether it's zero proof lifestyle related or it's just general service industry related and you're a business owner, operator, and you need some more help. This is just for anyone under the entire umbrella of zero proof beverage. Just all of it, because I love all of it and I'm multi-passionate, and they always say niche down, Marina. You gotta niche down to be successful. It's a lie. You do not have to niche all the way down to be successful. By the way, guys, yes, your individual products can, are good to niche, but like your whole everything you do, you can do it all, baby. You can do it all. That was a tangent, but let's go ahead and dive right in. Nowadays, the NA or zero proof market is absolutely exploding with options. So, by the way, anytime I say NA, that stands for non-alcohol. It's a term that's very widely used in this space, means the exact same thing as zero proof. Different people like to say different things. I like them all. So, that all being said, when, recently I've gone to the grocery store, there have been so many options, right? I posted a video about White Claw and Athletic Brewing Company, so that's really exciting to see that in the store. We also saw like some of the big companies like Coors, Budweiser, you see those different options starting to come in zero proof. Yesterday we were at Safeway, and we saw Stella and Guinness, so that's really exciting. I used to love drinking those back in the day, so to see, what I think like is not totally bottom of the rung beers actually coming out with zero proof, that's how you know this is real. This isn't just like a trendy moment. Like, if everybody is jumping on board and creating whole new departments in their businesses that have been around for literally decades, like, that's exciting. So that was just to name a few, but they're all starting to do it, and that's really exciting. So obviously we have these zero proof options of regular alcohol that we're used to, but is that always the best substitute if we're talking about what NA options to offer at your different types of parties or celebrations? You kind of gotta ask yourself a few questions. So, number one, is there anyone on your list that may have had a drinking problem, may have an addiction problem? Certain people who are in recovery may feel triggered by the taste of a Stella or a Guinness, because I'm telling you, like, we got those Stellas to enjoy for the Super Bowl yesterday, and they were delicious. Like, Tyler said he could not even taste the difference between and a regular beer. And it's true, the taste is pretty spot on. There's only the tiniest little like mouth feel that's missing, because obviously there's not alcohol in it, but other than that, it's so good and it's so sparkly. Like, it was great. But if you're triggered by alcohol, it may not be so great. You can see how that can definitely turn into a problem. You don't want to accidentally trigger someone into their next binge when they had been clean for a long time. So that is something to consider, but not everybody, of course, falls in that boat. You know, maybe you're just, you want to go on a boat with your friends, and your friends are drinking and you normally drink, but today you're not going to because tomorrow you have a big presentation at work. I don't know. So you choose a 0 proof Stella instead of a regular one, and you can still hang out with your friends, have a good time, do all the normal things. Like, obviously that's great. That is the best choice for that moment, because like, you want to still feel at home, but you want to be responsible for the next day. You want to be around family that inevitably is going to drink. You can't choose your family. Well, now you have this option to at least tolerate the questions of, why aren't you drinking alcohol? Well, I have this beer, leave me alone. But let's talk about other situations. You might have friends who are allergic to hops, wheat, barley. Maybe they could never drink beer in the first place, so why would you offer them a 0 proof beer? It wasn't the alcohol that was the problem. Some people just get sick off of beer and some of the ingredients that are in some of these different 0 proof options out there. So, there's a variety of reasons. Oh, and another one I just thought of. 0 proof beers still have more calories. Like, they're not 0 calories just because they're 0 proof. Like, that didn't just come from the alcohol. So if you're one of those people that are looking for like healthy options, I'm absolutely certain that 0 proof beer is better than regular beer. But if you want to take it a step further, there are so many better options out there in terms of like health and wellness aspect. If you're like on any sort of diet, it's just something to consider there. So that all being said, I'd love to dive into the next set of explorations, which is, what types of events would you have certain types of drinks, if not just these like 0 proof options? Let's talk about birthdays. So birthdays come in all different ages, sizes, audiences, like vibe. So really the sky is the limit here. And the first thing I'd want you to consider when making a selection for drink choice would be, what is the main activity? Because that's going to absolutely dictate exactly what kind of like menu choice I would go with. So for example, let's say you're having like an active birthday party. Like, if you are, we're going to do different age groups for a sec. So let's say we're talking about, it's like a kid's birthday party, and like you're like a mom or a dad that's trying to you need energy, but you don't want to drink alcohol because you want to make sure you're straight for the kids, like all the things. Like, you want to have an energetic mocktail with electrolytes. Like, you're going to want something that's going to support you through that absolute marathon that you're about to run. Even if you're not hosting a children's birthday party, let's say you are an adult and maybe you're an outdoorsy person and you're like, let's go on a hike for my birthday, or let's, go camping or go fishing or something. Like, and you want to just be a little bit more like, you have to go trek out onto an adventure to get to the place. Well, then that's another example of having an energetic mocktail with electrolytes, so you can pack the car and get the things going. And, even if it's afterwards, after the hike, after the adventure, then you have something to perk you up. You've got some electrolytes, get yourself rehydrated, all the things. Now, if you're doing a party that's a little bit more mental, like a board game night, or like one of those escape rooms or something where you can just like have to solve puzzles to get out, I would personally go with something with an adaptogenic mushroom, like, not the like super fun trippy ones. I'm talking about the like lion's mane, cordyceps, that kind of vibe. These are really great, especially because like not all of us want caffeine at any hour. I know caffeine makes my body confused. I'm like, am I having a panic attack or am I having a great time? Like, that's not the feeling I get with adaptogenic mushrooms. Those are the things that I'll drink when I just want to have like a really good focus. And I'm not just saying like for the board game puzzles, I'm saying also for the socializing aspect of it. So you're not like, if someone's like, oh yeah, what did you think about that thing? And you're like, dude, I don't have any thoughts right now. Like, I'm just like a blank fuzzball in my brain. I don't know. Like, that feeling sucks, right? You want to be able to be on when you're with people. So, if you have a mocktail that has those adaptogenic mushrooms, it's going to make a huge difference, and you're going to be able to connect differently, and you'll be able to network a little bit more. And I don't mean network just in the business sense. I just mean literally like weaving your web of getting to know people and being able to support them and nurture them. You'll be able to do so much more the more details that you're able to like absorb about them. So there's that. And then another category, maybe the main activity has nothing to do with it, like, and maybe it's just like it's a kid's birthday party, right? We're going back to that example. And so that's an example of where you have to sometimes invite people you don't like, because it's not about you, it's about your kid. And also family might come. You might have some tension with some family. This is where I would highly recommend kava. Now, I should note for all these things, because I did mention kids' birthday parties, I'm not saying give the children mushrooms. Like, I'm not saying give the children the kava. I'm just saying, because there are things that we can do for the kids that are non-psychoactive, that are really helpful for them and super yummy and delicious without having too much sugar, so they don't have that crazy crash. So there are things we can do for them. And I also am not here to tell you what is the right age to consume certain botanicals, because there are plenty of botanicals out there that are not like legally regulated in any way. So it's not like illegal or legal, like, like it's, no one's going to come after you if you give your child kava, but like, I'm not going to serve your child kava because that's not my child. That's you're a parent, you get to choose that kind of adventure, right? So I just want to put that out there. And all of that being said, and I'm going to say this time and time again, the first like 20 episodes of any like this podcast, because it's such a wide umbrella, it's all very foundational. So we're going to dive so much deeper into what herbs specifically are good for specific, like, ailments, specific pain points for different ages and different uses. So we're going to dive so much deeper into that. But right now I want to start with categories, and then we get into specifics as the episodes go on. So if if there's something in particular you're like, okay, well, but what is the recipe? Like, the recipes will come very shortly. Like I said, it's on the way. So all that being said, let's go ahead and talk about holidays instead of birthdays. So typically with holidays, no matter what time of year it's in, there's going to be some sort of big feast involved, right? Like, let's be real, whether it's 4th of July or Thanksgiving, there's always going to be so much food that you need to take a nap somewhere in there. So that means we want to talk about digestion and what types of ingredients are going to play a big role in creating the most badass recipes for these types of occasions. Now, ginger beer is my all-time favorite mixer. It's honestly my favorite straight-up beverage as well. It tastes good, it feels good, it really helps you digest. Back in the day, like, people used to make ginger beer in their house all the time, and it was like a normal thing to drink with your meals. Like, people didn't always have the same kind of digestive problems. And I feel like this is one of the really big reasons why. So that being said, we also want to go with the seasons. So, for example, winter holidays, we want to go with winter flavors. We want to consider how we can add more vitamin D if there's less sun where you live. We want to consider, for example, cranberry, right? That's a big flavor. But we also have things that are creamy, because we have like eggnog and, something milky and warm by the fire. So, for example, how would you dress up a kava? Well, I would go with a more like coconut mix with like cinnamon to make it more of like a horchata, with agave, of course, to sweeten it up just a little bit. And just to kind of give you more of a contrast to understand where I'm going with this, summer holidays, you're not like picture this. Arizona, Nevada, like it legitimately gets above 120 degrees Fahrenheit here. Not an exaggeration. Sometimes it feels even hotter than it really is. But our actual thermometers register that, which means the concept of milk in the middle of summer here kind of makes you not feel as well, though, coconut milk on another hand is also really soothing for certain things. So how do we make coconut milk, for example, work in multiple seasons? Well, if I mentioned that more horchata taste in the winter palate, I would say more of like a pina colada would be a summertime palate, because you've got that pineapple juice that would cut it, provide some more electrolytes as well, but also just brings that whole drink together, again, with a little bit of agave as well, honestly, because that's delicious. But let's say you don't want to do any sort of cream. And let's go back to the ginger beer, right? Ginger is really great in kava when mixed with lime. So that's my favorite way to make it in the summertime. So you just make a limeade, which is just lime juice, agave, and water. You mix that with some hand-brewed kava and some ginger juice, like some concentrated ginger juice. You don't need much of it because it's ridiculous, but it's so tasty and it makes your body feel so warm. But it's warm with an asterisk, right? Because kava is the root of a pepper plant, so it's going to have that heat component to it. But when you mix it with ginger is a vasodilator. So in the in the heat, it's going to help you sweat, which is good because that's your air conditioning system. But then when it's wintertime, that helps your blood flow. So it helps you warm up faster. So it's really great at temperature regulation in general. And then the kava can help also warm you up in other ways. But sometimes people feel too warmed up from kava and they need to have some sort of barrier. And that's when I would always recommend that coconut milk. So if that's the case, if like that ginger lime kava is a little bit too spicy, especially because it has that citrus in it, then I would go with, the horchata kind of a vibe. So all of that being said, seasonality is really important with holidays, and we haven't even talked about the meaning of the holidays yet, because of course you look at different holidays, like for example, Christmas time is my favorite, because then you can use like holy herbs, right, in a very like storytelling way, and and they taste so delicious. Like rosemary, oh my gosh, rosemary in like a lavender limeade. That's like one of my favorite summer drinks too. But point of the story is you can play around with what thematic, details tie together any of the celebrations that you have. If there are tastes or there are stories in your family or within your friend group, maybe there's something funny about something that happened with an apple or under an apple tree, and then you make an apple-inspired drink. You can make it work for any season, making it hot or cold, and kind of dive in from there. You can use salted caramel to make it more fall, more festive, to bring it into the springtime. You can make it more fresh. You can add a little bit more citrus in the summertime to really cool down and help feel a lot more refreshed. And yeah, the best part about it is we haven't even talked about tinctures yet. So functional tinctures, I kind of talked about them a little bit in the birthdays, but when we're talking about holidays, oftentimes like celebration means there's some sort of traditional element. And, this means that you can literally create tinctures together. The process itself doesn't take too much effort. It just is a matter of, letting it sit on the shelf for 6 weeks after you put it together on that Christmas night or that holiday night, that Thanksgiving night, whatever it is with your family. You can turn it into a thing, and then that turns into health year round, because tinctures are good for a year. So you can make it a yearly tradition to make for example, you can make peppermint drops. You can make cough drops. You can make your very own like allergy blend. There's so many different fun little tinctures you can make, and again, we'll talk about what types you can make in some future episodes here, but you can always turn the drink making process and the ingredient making process into a tradition in and of itself during the holidays, and that's something that I always highly recommend, because if you're just drinking a drink and you don't know what's in it, you're kind of disconnected from it and you're going to judge it from a different lens. But if you understand that someone made something for you out of love and full of intention, it goes down different. And it just makes the holidays a little bit more special, and it kind of helps weave the generations together. I could go on forever, but instead I'm going to transition into weddings. Weddings are so delightful. As of this recording, it's February 12th. I got married to Tyler in October 23rd of last year, or October 26th of last year. Sorry, we had like a whole crazy situation where our like wedding date changed, and it was so dramatic. Anyway, I digress. That's a different episode. So, weddings, my husband and I designed the bar menu for our wedding, so I'll share our menu with you here, and then if you head over to Instagram and you look at the like post that has the photo for this episode, and you swipe, you'll see the actual visual of the menu that we created for the wedding. It was a Wild West vibe. And we had 4 drinks. The first one is the bride. This one was a lavender limeade with ginger beer and a Blue Lotus jasmine extract. So I love this drink. Ginger beer, like I mentioned, it's my favorite. Lavender, and lavender is just very relaxing, calming. Limeade is just one of my favorite flavors in drinks, and it just helps me stay hydrated in the desert, because I always like to let my ice melt in it. The Blue Lotus is in there for relaxation, great for dreams. So I noticed that it kind of helps me kind of become a little bit more present as well, which is also what the jasmine does. Jasmine has a lot of other benefits as well, but the whole vibe of this drink is to be a refreshing thing that helps, the ginger beer, because, stress always makes your tummy feel some type of way. But if I'm drinking ginger beer all day, I'm feeling good. I'm letting my ice melt in it, so I'm getting hydrated as well, on top of drinking water. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying there's a lot going on in this cup. The lavender definitely also helps, like anytime I would just literally, it's so potent when you use the extract and not just like a flavoring or like a syrup, but like a true extract of the flavor of the herb. It can be really potent. So that was just something that I'm telling you, I was the most zen bride I think ever. I was good, and that drink really got me there. The groom was a desert pear and strawberry limeade with red kratom. And the reason that was decided on was because, of course, we love kratom. I have a love-hate relationship with it, but overall, it definitely is very soothing and helpful. It actually helped for multiple reasons, right? We had some older members of our family on both sides who got to try the red kratom, and it made them feel really good, and they were like, man, I don't want to be on my pain medication anymore, and I was feeling so good on that, and we saw them dancing and moving around a little bit, and it was really precious and really special. And even people who had no idea they were coming to an alcohol-free wedding, even though we put it on the wedding website, they still had it, and they still had a great time, so it all worked out. Desert pear, of course, with it being a Wild West wedding. That's a very Arizona flavor, but it also, has a lot of health benefits. Take a look into desert pear. I'm going to talk a whole lot about it coming up pretty soon here as well. We also had a drink. So we have 2 dogs. One of them, the honey bear, was a horchata-inspired Tongan kava latte. So Tongan kava is a little bit lighter, nuttier of a profile. And it just that horchata, right? So it's just coconut milk, agave, cinnamon, super fresh, relaxing. But more of a talkative vibe. It isn't one of those heavier, sedative ones. And then the Wile E. Coyote was a pumpkin spiced delight with Tongan kava as well. So again, we wanted to keep it in a more uplifted mood because it is a wedding. So we wanted to make sure no one was falling asleep or like slugging into their chairs. But we did want them to feel in the mood, and it was a fall wedding, and I love pumpkins, and it is what it is. I'm Midwestern, so here we are. Now, an important note here is that I wouldn't personally put kava on a menu with alcohol since they do not mix well. If you don't know, you do get nauseous if you mix them, and you almost immediately puke the contents from your stomach, and then you're all better. Like, it's just a matter of they don't get along well in your gut. Personally, I think that's the kava just trying to have your back. But, it gets a little sketchy in that situation, and we had 0 alcohol being served at our wedding, so we felt very comfortable there. There are other herbs that are a little bit easier to mix with alcohol without so many negative side effects, but that's just all about having a great bartender and someone who is great at educating your crowd, because a great bartender would never let someone mix those things. It's as simple as that. So let's move into anniversaries. So many kinds of events, so many different kinds of drinks that you can have to make things, vibe the way you want them to. Do you know how many aphrodisiac tinctures there are out there? It can be as simple as some cacao and rose. Like, there are so many things that can help you be more present with your partner, no matter how many or like how busy your lives get. So you have time to really celebrate and cherish the connection you have. There's one brand that I love called Lunar Logic. They have a great blend called Moonstruck. That one is, just look it up on their website. There's so much good stuff in there. But just an example of different types of functional drinks you can create that are not only delicious and, taste amazing, but they are also helpful for you, and they are intentional, and they help you see like, hey, I made this drink for you. It can also be about taking care of your loved one, right? Like, you want them to be good. They're your person. Like, you want everything in their life to be great because that means your life is great. So if they've been stressed lately, find some right herbs that will help them calm down. If they've been going through a lot, let's heal their adrenal functions with the right herbs to help their bodies find homeostasis again. We're going to have some upcoming episodes on these topics to dive into what all of those herbs are, but these are just examples of things that you can do on your anniversary to provide an experience that is a little bit more thoughtful and meaningful than grabbing a bottle of wine at the corner drugstore. Now, one of the last things I want to mention here is creating a festive atmosphere regardless of the type of special event you are trying to throw without the presence of alcohol. It's really important to change your expectations. Alcohol makes people behave a particular way, and we've been conditioned to believe that all of these attributes can be positive. And when you experience life without them, you might find that it's so different that you're not sure how you feel about it at first. And then as time goes on, you start to realize like, oh, this is comfortable. This is great. I love this. But for example, at our wedding, people didn't dance too much, but honestly, it was not a bummer at all to us, because instead, everyone was really interested in connecting with each other. There wasn't a single drama-filled moment. There were so many hugs. We watched our family intermingle with everyone else so well. It made me and Tyler feel like the experience successfully actually merged our families in a way that I don't think I would have ever felt if there was any sort of alcohol present. Like, I've literally never been to a wedding in my entire life that felt the way that mine and Tyler's did. And I don't just mean that because it's ours. Like, I love, of course, like, it was amazing because it was ours, but I'm telling you, like, having a wedding that had kava and kratom, like, was a game changer. So if the marker for success is a full dance floor, you're gonna want to plan the event to create very intentional moments that ask your guests to dance straightforwardly, because there's no alcohol, right? So something to consider there. And as a former professional dancer, it did not break my heart for a single second that the dance floor wasn't full. In fact, it gave me more room to dance my heart out with my 4-year-old niece, Quinn, which I'm going to treasure for the rest of my life. Some people were a bit shocked when they showed up and the bar didn't have any alcohol, even though we mentioned it, like I said. But everyone adjusted and remained open-minded. And due to that, we were able to continue to educate throughout the event. We put out signs. We saw them interacting with it. So it just became a deeper event than what it seemed surface level. It was really great to know that everyone got home safe. We didn't have to worry about shuttles or designated drivers because everyone made it home safe and sound. We knew there was no alcohol in everyone's systems. The thing is, it's just all about intention. And I just keep using my wedding as an example because it was the most recent event in my life that we created this very intentional menu for. And, you know, it was a very potent experience. So just diving in, like I mentioned, I made the bride what it was, that lavender limeade with ginger beer and blue lotus jasmine, because I knew I wanted to be present. I wanted my belly to be happy. I wanted to be able to be in a state that was able to capture memories best. I remember every single moment of that day so vividly, and even though I didn't get to eat a single goddamn taco at my own wedding, I still felt amazing. There's a really important side note here because I felt like I was literally tripping. Like I talked about this with Tyler and he totally agreed. Like if you haven't been married before, you may think that you can plan every moment, know what to expect, do all of your research, have a simple wedding, because that's what I thought. And guess what? The whole day felt like I had taken a tab of acid. Like he didn't even get to eat dessert either. Like we were just literally like the hunger wasn't even there. There was so much. And I'm telling you that our drinks really grounded us. They weren't the things that made us feel like it was trippy. If anything, those were the things that helped us feel sober and helped us feel grounded because of the amount of just mystical energy that surrounds an event like a wedding. There's really nothing else like it, especially if you really believe in deep, true love and, you know, you're getting married for those kinds of reasons. So, but anyways, even though I didn't get to eat a single taco at my wedding, I felt great the whole day because I ensured that there were functional drinks to help get us through the day without any negative side effects. We made Tyler's red kratom drink because he didn't need much energy, but he wanted that relaxing strain. And like I mentioned, we had a few family members we wanted to convince. And so it was worth it, and it worked. We wanted to also make sure that people, like the reason we had put that taro or like that horchata drink into our menu was because we wanted to make sure like that the people who were being introduced to kava for the first time were going to have a good time. We didn't want to put a traditional, just straight up kava bowl in there for like first timers. They're going to be like, what the hell kind of potato water is this? Like, no, we wanted to make sure everybody was going to have a delicious time. So everything always just comes back to intention, seasonality. What are the details surrounding the event that you are trying to make a menu for? If you have any upcoming events and you're looking to build a special NA menu, ask yourself the following questions. Who is going to be there? What can I do to help them feel better? What ingredients can I use that will tie the theme of the event together? And am I ready to educate people who need help understanding? Now, if you're not ready to educate people, do not worry. That doesn't mean you shouldn't make mocktails. That just means let's do a little bit more research first. I do offer 30 or 60-minute consultation packages to help you with this if you need it. Just send me an email at hello@marinamars.com and I'll help you get the best menu together for your event. If you have any thoughts on mocktails for special occasions or anything else that was brought up in this episode, please tell me about it. Head on over to my Instagram, Mocktails with Marina, find the post on this episode, and leave a comment. Want to keep it between us? All good. Send me an email or a DM on Instagram, and I'd love to hear about it. Now, our next episode legitimately is going to be the interview with Odyssey, and I am so excited about it. So stay tuned. Hold on tight. That'll be coming next week. And lastly, we've got a free 5-day challenge going on right now over on the Functional Flow app and at marinamars.com/challenges for those of you who prefer the desktop. It's called the 5-day Build Your Own Vision to Reality Challenge. We're here to give you a home to your brilliant ideas. Resurrect your brilliant ideas and build systems that help you gain momentum instead of having those ideas make you feel so tired you can't even sit down long enough to make a plan to get out of that vicious cycle. Gain focus and clarity on the details and execution of projects, leaving more time and space for the good stuff. In this mini course, you will learn how to break free from the vicious cycle of stagnation and start gaining momentum in your personal and professional projects. We focus on developing systems and strategies that not only foster the resurrection of your brilliant ideas, but also ensure their successful execution. This course is designed to help you gain focus and clarity on the intricate details of your projects, ensuring you have more time and space to dedicate to what truly matters. The course outline basically is a 5-day course that helps you get your ideas from your brain onto a piece of paper into an order that makes sense. You start to develop a system, and then you take your very first step. You commit to choosing a date to begin. You're going to gain clarity and focus, strategic planning skills, time management skills, momentum, and a whole lot of personal growth with this challenge. This is ideal for creatives, entrepreneurs, project managers, and anyone else who finds themselves inspired by their ideas but unsure how to execute them. Whether you're looking to bring a personal project to life or you're just aiming to innovate within your organization, this is for you. Thank you guys so much for listening, and as always, please just let me know if you need anything.